So, would you believe that some SUVs that were brand new just months ago are already becoming financial disasters? Not because they're old, not because they have 150,000 miles on the clock, and not because they're EVs. See, these are gas powered SUVs, the kind that people bought thinking, well, it'll keep forever. But now in 2026, well, buyers don't want them. And here's the scary part: a lot of these SUVs are losing value so fast that owners are getting trade-in offers that feel like a prank. Like, sir, are you sure you didn't forget a zero? So today, I'm going to be counting down 15 SUVs that are becoming worthless in 2026. And I'm going from bad to absolutely catastrophic because some of these depreciation curves should be illegal. And don't click away because at the end, I'll explain the three rules that predict depreciation before you buy so you never get stuck underwater again. So buckle up and let's go from bad to worse, starting at number 15 with the 2025 Buick Enclave. Now, the Enclave should have been a resale winner. Big redesign, fresh interior, updated tech, and Buick was clearly aiming for that premium family SUV lane. But in 2026, Enclave resale is collapsing. Now, why? Because Buick did something that silently destroys value faster than any mechanical issue. They flooded the fleet market. Now, rental companies and corporate fleets grabbed thousands of Enclaves, and now the used market is drowning in them. Now, that creates the worst possible perception problems. See, when buyers see a used Enclave, their brain doesn't say, oh, nice family SUV. It says that's a former rental. And the redesign didn't help either. Buick ditched the proven 3.6 V6 and went turbo 4. Now, on paper, efficiency, but in reality, well, it feels strained in a three row and it sounds rough under load and doesn't feel premium at all. And here's the killer detail: once dealers start leaning on incentives, well, it's over. Discounts on new models automatically crush the used market because, hey, no buyer wants to pay normal used prices when new ones are marked down so highly. And that's how a $50,000 SUV simply becomes a trade in nightmare. Down to number 14. At number 14, we have the 2025 Infiniti QX80. Now, the QX80 is one of those SUVs that makes absolutely no sense on paper. It's big, it's expensive, it looks luxury. But in 2026, it's bleeding value like crazy, and here's why. See, Infiniti has a brand problem. Luxury resale is built on two things, as you probably know: status and trust. Infiniti has neither of those right now. Even with the redesign, the QX80 lives in a weird no man's land. It's too expensive to be mainstream value, but it's not prestigious enough to be a true luxury anchor like, say, a Lexus, a Cadillac, or a Mercedes. And in 2026, well, that matters more than ever because luxury buyers are getting very picky. And when they spend 85,000, they want zero doubt. Plus, Infiniti's long-term future feels very uncertain to a lot of shoppers, and uncertainty kills resale values. Buyers ask, will this brand still matter in 5 years? And if the answer isn't a confident yes, well, trade-in values get punished hard. So the QX80 drops hard fast and owners take the hit. Down to number 13, and that unlucky 13 is a 2025 Nissan Murano. Now, this one is painful because the Murano isn't even terrible, but it's priced like it belongs in the luxury class without being luxury. See, the 2025 Murano falls into the worst depreciation category on earth: overpriced for the badge. At 40 to 50,000, buyers are doing the comparison math and saying, why am I paying that for a Nissan when I can get a Highlander, a CRV, a RAV4, or a Pilot? And then it gets worse. See, when dealers can't move new inventory, they start discounting it. And when new models get discounted hard, well, used values get absolutely nuked. So Murano owners became underwater very early, and many never recovered during the loan term. And the saddest part is most Murano buyers aren't wealthy. They're actually middle class families. So losing 12 to 15,000 in value very fast isn't just annoying, it's financially destabilizing when life changes and you need to trade it. Down to number 12, and at number 12, the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now, the Grand Cherokee is the perfect example of how depreciation isn't just about price, it's about fear. And in 2026, used buyers are scared of this SUV. Now, why? Because the Grand Cherokee has become an electronics gamble. You've got recall history, reported infotainment failures, glitches affecting critical functions, and that uneasy feeling that the vehicle is smart, but it's not very stable. And here's how resale works psychologically. When an SUV feels risky, used buyers demand a discount as protection. So even if it's attractive, even if it drives great, the resale collapses because the market is pricing in future headaches. And the problem compounds because Jeeps are often financed long term. So owners who paid peak pricing plus dealer markups, well, they're now learning that their SUV is worth tens of thousands of dollars less than their loan balance. Now, that's not depreciation. That, my friends, is financial quicksand. Forgive me. Down to number 11. And at number 11, the 2025 Nissan Armada. Now, the Armada has always been the budget full-size SUV, and that reputation is exactly why it depreciates so brutally. Because the Armada buyer is often someone stretching to get a big SUV, and when those buyers go used, well, they want maximum reliability for minimal money. But Nissan made a key move that hurt their resale very badly. They moved away from the big, simple engine vibe that traditional full-size SUV buyers love. Now, whether the new powertrain is good or not, it really doesn't matter. What does matter is buyer perception. Full-size buyers don't want new engine experiment. They want known tank. And in this segment, image matters. Excuse me. Bad cough. Buyers want a Yukon, a Tahoe, an Expedition, a Sequoia, something that feels like it belongs. Armada doesn't get that respect, and resale reflects it. So the depreciation is absolutely savage, especially once incentives and dealer discounts begin. Down to number 10. And at 10, we got the Jeep Grand Wagoneer L. So Stellantis promised this would be an Escalade competitor. But in 2026, it's become something else, a $90,000 rolling liability. See, this SUV depreciates like crazy for one reason. The market doesn't trust it out of warranty. These big luxury SUVs live and die by one factor. Can the second owner confidently buy it at 45,000 miles? Now, with this SUV, buyers hesitate because it's known as an electrical problem machine. And resale always follows this formula. More risk equals fewer buyers equals lower prices. So when used buyers disappear, prices collapse and the trade-in offers get insulting. And the deeper issue is the ownership experience. When owners talk online about breakdowns, glitches, and being stranded, well, it spreads fast. One viral thread can hurt resale nationally. And that's why these depreciate like crazy, not because they look bad, but because people believe they're a future money pit. So, excuse me again, having covered all those, just before we take an even deeper dive into the top 9 write-offs, it's imperative you hit that like button and subscribe so that you get notified the minute we produce another game-changing video that affects your future SUV and your finances. And I promise you'll appreciate it. So buckle up and let's take a deeper plunge going down to number 9. And at number 9, we have the Range Rover Sport. Now, Land Rover has mastered something truly unique. They make vehicles that are stunning, prestigious, and absolutely terrifying after warranty. The Range Rover Sport loses value because of what it represents: luxury plus complex electronics plus expensive parts. So even if the first owner loves it, the second owner thinks, what happens when the air suspension fails? What happens when a warning light becomes a $4,000 repair? And once that fear enters the used market, well, it becomes a resale death sentence. But here's what makes it worse. Luxury SUVs sell used based on who wants to be seen in them. Now, people love the image of Range Rover until they see the maintenance reality. And that's why wealthy buyers lease, write it off, and dump it before the warranty ends, which of course floods the market with used ones and crushes values even faster. Down to number 8. And at number 8, it's a favorite of mine, unfortunately, the Jaguar F-Pace. Now, this SUV isn't just depreciating, it's becoming an orphan. Jaguar's direction shift has turned the F-Pace into a giant question mark. And buyers, well, they just hate questions. So if people suspect a brand is retreating or shrinking or changing identity, well, they don't want to buy that vehicle used, because used buyers don't just buy a vehicle, they buy into the long-term support system, the parts, the dealer network, the service availability, and the resale confidence. Well, unfortunately, Jaguar has weakened all of that. So the F-Pace drops hard. And this matters more than people realize. See, used car buyers are risk managers. They'll gladly buy boring and safe, but they avoid anything that feels like it might become a difficult vehicle to service. If the brand is shrinking dealer footprints or discontinuing models, well, buyers assume parts and support will become painful, and that kills demand immediately. Now, here we go down to number 7. And at number 7, we have the Dodge Durango. Now, the Durango is old. And in 2026, well, old equals punished, because buyers now expect better tech, better efficiency, and better safety systems. The Durango still has muscle appeal, but the market's moved on, and resale reflects it. Plus, once the last call novelty wears off, well, it becomes just another aging SUV competing against newer platforms. And that kills value quickly. And another problem is insurance. Performance SUVs and V8 models are increasingly expensive to insure. And in 2026, well, insurance is a bigger buying factor than ever. Now, that means fewer used buyers, lower bids, and worse trade values. Now, Durango owners think they're buying a cult classic, but the market, well, it treats it like an outdated product with rising ownership costs. Now we're down to number 6. And at 6, we have the Dodge Hornet. Now, this SUV is a definition of brand confusion. It doesn't fit Dodge, and when a vehicle doesn't have identity, well, it struggles. Then the discounts hit. And discounts are resale poison, because the minute buyers see 10 to 15,000 off MSRP, they start thinking, if Dodge can't sell them new, why would anyone want them used? So used prices collapse. But there's also the reputation issue. The Hornet launched with quality complaints, recall headlines, and early reliability doubts. Now, once that happens, the internet never forgets. So even if Dodge fixes it later, well, the used market still acts like it's radioactive. And that's how you end up with a newish SUV worth less than older Toyota crossovers, because reliability reputation beats styling every single time. Down to number 5. At number 5, we're talking the Alfa Romeo Tonale. Now, the Tonale proves a brutal truth that style can't save resale. Alfa has a smaller dealer network, low trust amongst used buyers, reliability stigma, and expensive repairs. So even though it looks really great, buyers don't line up for used ones. And when demand collapses, well, price follows. Plus, Alfa Resale suffers from dealership scarcity. A used buyer doesn't want to drive 90 minutes to service the car. They want convenience. They want to know any shop can handle it. And the Tonale is also in a segment where Toyota, Honda, Mazda, they all dominate with bulletproof reputations. And that makes Tonale depreciation extra vicious because it's not just competing against other fun crossovers, it's competing against the safest financial choices in the entire market. Down to number 4. And at 4, we have the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Same curse, but bigger damage. See, the Stelvio is arguably one of the best driving SUVs in its segment, but resale isn't about fun. It's about confidence. And the used market does not feel confident about its maintenance costs, its service network, and its electronics long term. So therefore, the depreciation gets savage. And the Stelvio suffers from what I call luxury mismatch. See, it drives like a sporty German SUV, but it doesn't carry the same long-term trust. Now, if you're spending used BMW money, buyers ask, why wouldn't I just buy the BMW? And that's why Stelvio values collapse, even if it's objectively enjoyable. See, a great drive doesn't matter when buyers fear the repair bill. Down to number 3. At number 3, we have the Land Rover Range Rover. Now, the full-size Range Rover is one of the most deceptive SUVs in the market. It looks like it should hold value, but the depreciation curve is one of the worst in the entire SUV world. Now, why? Well, because the second it's out of warranty, the market taps out. People with money lease them, and people without money fear them. And that creates a resale vacuum. And when the only people who truly want them are leasing, well, the used market becomes a bargain bin. And that's why you'll see a vehicle that once cost 6 figures selling for numbers that feel unreal. See, buyers know the truth. The purchase price is only the entry fee. The real cost is what happens after warranty, when electrical systems, suspension, and complex components start aging. And that fear, well, it destroys resale. So now we're down to the top 2, and at number 2, we have the Maserati Grecale. Now, this SUV has the Maserati problems, luxury pricing without the luxury demand, so it drops like a rock. It's expensive, it's niche, it's difficult to service, and once used buyers hear the words Maserati, they don't think value, they think repairs. So resale collapses, and it's not just the brand, it's the ownership ecosystem. Maserati service is limited, parts aren't cheap, and buyers worry about downtime. Luxury used buyers aren't always rich. Many are stretching to look rich, and these buyers can't afford unpredictable repairs. So demand shrinks, and when demand shrinks, trade-in offers get vicious. Dealers lowball because they don't want it sitting on the lot for 6 months. So now, finally, we get to number 1. And again, it's the Maserati, but this time it's the Levante. So this is the king of depreciation destruction, because everything bad about Maserati is amplified here. And the MSRP, well, it's higher. So when it collapses violently. These SUVs can lose 2/3 of their value in only a few years, which means owners are taking losses that look like down payments on a house. And the tragedy? Well, it's got a Ferrari-derived engine. But resale is worse than cars that cost 1/10 as much. That's the Maserati promise. Big flex, brutal financial aftermath. And the used market psychology is ruthless here. See, once a vehicle gets a reputation for expensive and unreliable, well, used buyers treat it like a ticking time bomb. Doesn't matter how beautiful it is or how it sounds, they just don't want the risk. And that's why Levantes get avoided like a bad investment, because they are. So there you have it, 15 SUVs that became worthless in 2026. Now, I want to know which one shocked you the most. And even worse, are you stuck with one of these depreciation disasters? I hope you're not, but drop your story below. And I'll see you, my fellow SUV lovers, on the next one.